Okay. I just realized none of what I said was on camera. That's okay. So without further ado, for our first speaker of the night, please join me in welcoming to the stage is Big Sexy and, Big Sexy Barry White. I just had it in a second ago. The power of being silly. The power of being silly is Big Sexy Barry White.
If I could have everyone please stand up. Everyone, please stand up. On the count of 3, I want you to make the silliest face and do the silliest movement you can think of. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Very nice. Okay, have a seat. You're coming. Thank you, Mr. Contest Chairman, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Silliness is defined as having a lack of good sense and judgment or engaging in a ludicrous folly. My goal is to show you that by embracing silliness, you can actually find power in that space. Unlimited power! No Star Wars fans? Okay, that's right. Actor, director, and SNL alum Amy Poehler said, "There's power in looking silly and not caring if you do." Comedian, late night talk show host, and SNL alum Jimmy Fallon said, "Be silly." You're allowed to be silly. There's nothing wrong with it. Right now, we just did this exercise. How did you feel? Did you feel weird? Good? Did you feel weird? Anybody reluctant initially? Raise your hand if you felt weird or kind of a little bit reluctant. Not a problem. Because you understand society has metaphorically and sometimes literally beaten down to the idea that there is something wrong with being silly. Or at least it's frowned upon. But my man Jimmy Fallon said there's nothing wrong with it. So silliness is a synonym for the word free. You can be free in being silly. We all know somebody who walks through life without a care. Just walking through life, not a care in the world. And the world actually seems to reward that person. They go through life doing crazy things like, I don't know, selling everything they own and moving to a foreign country with nothing but a few belongings and maybe a couple contacts and some hopes and dreams. You know anybody like that? Yet they're able to thrive and survive. They're free. The Population Division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs stated that in July 1st of 2020, there was an estimated 281 million international migrants. 281 million. Now, not all of them left everything behind and moved to a foreign country, but if even 1% of that number did, that is over 2 million silly people. 2 million people who didn't let the idea that, oh my God, someone's going to laugh at me, stop them from living their life. Yes. 2 million. They went out there and they lived. Now you might be saying to yourself, or more likely asking me, Big Sexy, how can being silly help me? What does it do? Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you had a really good belly laugh? You know, and what were you worried about when you were doing that? Nothing. Except for maybe trying to catch your breath. There is freedom in silliness. It is impossible to stress when you are laughing hysterically. Stress can be disruptive. Therefore, silliness is a natural de-stressor. And when you have the ability to cope with stress, you have the ability to lead a happier life. My name is Big Sexy. That is a silly thing to name myself. And if you know me, and I'm looking around, and most of you do, and if you don't, you should. Know that I thrive in that space. And you can too. It's possible. When you are not stressed, when you are smiling. Now, don't get me wrong. You cannot go through life 24/7 laughing hysterically. They will lock you up. But if you do go through life with the thought that you have the ability to just be happy and not worry what other people think about you, you will find power in that space. And I do mean power. It is freeing to not have to worry so much what everybody thinks about you. You all seen that meme of people come just walking, like black silhouettes just walking along in one direction, and there's one bright, shiny figure walking in the other direction, going forward in that motion? Some graphic designer created that because they knew that we needed to see it. It'll have some kind of encouraging phrase like, be you, or shine bright, because we should be us, and we should shine bright. And being silly helps you shine bright. The definition says, silliness is a lack of judgment. If you want to be free, then the best judgment you can do is be silly. Thank you.
Can I ask everyone, please, 1 minute of silence? Okay. Thank you. And please join with me in welcoming our second speaker. It's Playa, Iran, Italab, and the speech is entitled The Power of Being Present. The power of being present is Playa, Iran, Italab.
Hello, my name is Playa, and today's speech is, be present, be prosperous. Now as I'm looking at all of you, with your beautiful faces, check in with yourself. What are the thoughts in your mind? Some of you are judging, some of you are wondering why this guy's just staring at me. What is the voice saying in your mind? A few years ago, I traveled to Iran, where I was born, and there was one of these craziest traffics. Have you guys been stuck in traffic and you feel like you just want to kill yourself and you're stuck? Sort of like the LA traffic. And I was in the car with two other people who were just talking nonsense. And I just wanted to jump off the car. And I remember a book called The Power of Now. How many of you have heard of that book? And I read it before and it made me feel good. And I was like, well, whatever this author said, it better work now. Because I'm about to shoot myself. And in that moment, I decided to stop giving a crap what they were saying or the fact that there is hours and hours of traffic. And I decided to embrace the present moment. And something really weird happened. I started to feel really good. Sort of like right now. I feel really good. How many of you feel really good right now? It's weird, right? Like you're just talking and the mood shifted a little bit, but I started to feel really good. And of course, times go by and I try to turn into a concept. I'm like, now I know how to be present. But then my mind turned that into another thing that I'm gonna do. And now I've become Mr. Present. So now I turn that into part of my ego. And now I'm like Mr. Meditation, and I'm like taking all these photos of me meditating and being present. And next thing you know, I actually lost it in the process. Years later, I find myself in a sales role, and I was doing really good as a salesperson. I was crushing it, doing really well, but I was feeling really exhausted. One day I had one of the clients who was really, really grumpy. Have you guys had a grumpy client and she's just being really, really rude? So imagine a time when you're just really doing well and someone comes, she's just being really rude, just really unkind. And it really hurt me. I was like, why is this person doing that? Like, why is she not responding to me? I tried charm, I tried humor. And so I decided to show my call to my mentor. I have a wise friend who's also my mentor, and I shared the video with Adrian. Would you be willing to give me some feedback on this? And Adrian take a look at this video and he said, Playa, you're not being present. I was like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm being present. I'm listening, I know exactly what her goals are. He's like, no, you're not listening. You're not being with her, you're thinking about what to say next. So as I'm saying this right now, I'm actually inviting you into this state of consciousness. Because right after this talk, even during this talk, right now, we can step into the kingdom of heaven on earth. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yes, and those of you who don't, it's okay. Maybe you will a year from now, maybe you will just tonight when you go to the bar and you see this beautiful girl and you're like, and the voice inside your head starts chatting, oh my God, does she like me? Is he gonna da da da? And you remember what Playa said, let go of your thoughts. Be fully here. And next thing you know, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? Maybe things will flow. But in my experience, this is the miracle. Now, as I'm saying this to you, there's this Playa over here, the other version of me standing over here, and he's like, please like me. Please say something interesting that this guy's gonna like, really like you. And then there's this other Playa here, it's just like, be present. Just be still, trust. Because if I don't try to think what I'm gonna say next, the presence knows better than Playa. Because that Playa is exactly the conditioning that our friend was mentioning. It's the society's programming. Do this so that the girls like you. Do that so that the boys like you. Do this so that you get the promotion. Don't say that or else you're not worthy of love. And this is the miracle and this is the blessing. That's why it's called the present. The present moment is a gift. Now it's really easy to hear that and turn it into a concept. What is the voice saying now? Checking again. Is the voice a little bit more quiet? Because the degree of our fulfillment is directly proportionate to our ability to be in that space. Think of the last orgasm you had. You were right here. Think of the last baby you saw that was so adorable. You were like, oh, he's so cute. We were right here. Think of a time when, I don't know, you say something really funny and you're just having that belly laugh. You're back right here. So our journey in humanity is, from my perspective, is to transition from thinking, past, present, future, to being. And in this being, we find our connection. And in this connection, we find our trust. And in this trust, we find our business prosper, our sales close, our relationship prosper. And even if you have to break up with someone, we can do it with our open heart. Because it's coming from the right place. So, are you guys up for doing a presence test tonight and today?
Yes.
As you're living here, as you're networking, I invite you. See what happens as you notice the thoughts about what the other person's saying or the thoughts about yourself. Take a deep breath. And just let it flow. Let it flow. And see what happens. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask you please 1 minute of silence? Okay. Our third speaker on the International Speakers Competition tonight is Rudo Robinson. And his title is From Your Darkness, I Shine Brighter. I shine brighter from your darkness, I should say that around. From your darkness, I shine brighter is Rudo Robinson.
I'm Rudo Robinson, and I live in a beach town called Playa, Carmen, Mexico. It is a wonderful place. It is known to be a place of peace and tranquility. Everyone loves coming here. People from all over the world literally come here for freedom, peace, and tranquility. There are churches of every faith you can imagine. There's Mushroom Mondays where people get out on the beach and do magic mushrooms and get enlightened. There's multiple yoga studios everywhere. Juice shops, smoothie shops, anything you can imagine. Ayahuasca ceremonies, all kinds of wonderful things here, all in the name of peace and tranquility. It's such a wonderful place that you feel safe to the point where oftentimes I forget to lock my doors. I would never do that in the United States. Last Saturday, something happened that affected me in a different way. I went downstairs. I live in a high-rise building that has a large garage on the bottom floor where everyone goes to park their car. And I went downstairs to get on my scooter to do my little running around that I do. But there's a car that's sitting there in my parking space that's been there for a long time that a friend of mine gave me that doesn't work, and I just figured I'd get it fixed eventually. I'm in Playa, Carmen. I don't need to rush to anything anyway, because it's a place of peace and tranquility. I went down to my scooter and I noticed someone wrote some kind of note on my car. I was like, let's see what they wrote. And I looked at it and it said, I hate NIGG. And I'm sure you can figure out the rest. Here, in my place of peace and tranquility, someone wrote, I hate N-word, plural, because it's all of us apparently, on my car. It hurt. It hurt. I found myself grieving and even going through the 5 stages of grief. Starts with denial. This couldn't have happened here. Maybe they wrote, I hate nightly, like they don't like going outside at night or something, right? But no, there's no H there. There's definitely 2 G's, plural. Because it's all of us that look like me apparently. Then there's anger. How dare they come to my house where I live, where my wife sleeps? The place that I came to escape that kind of mess and do that to me. I was fighting mad. But what was worse was, who could I fight? Because they're so weak that they didn't even write their name. Then there comes bargaining. Well, if I had washed that car or gotten it fixed, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe it's my fault. But then I thought about it and said, no, I should be able to park my car there forever and have a mountain of dust on that daggone car. And no one ever write, I hate N-I-G-G, plural? Then comes depression. Because I'm over 50 years old. I'm from the United States. I've never been called that before. This was a first for me. I never knew what it felt like for someone to insult me in that way. What do I do? This is the place that I come for peace and tranquility. I tell everyone, come down to Playa, Carmen, it's wonderful, you'll love it here. It's not like Alabama or some other place. Then I reached acceptance. Racism exists. As long as there's human beings, there will be some human beings that choose not to like other people for no other reason than what they look like. And I am so thankful that I live in a place where this is rare. I know that there's people in this world that live places where they live under that type of harassment daily. And that's not where I live. And I'm thankful for that. I have a message to that person that did that to my car. Hi, hater. It's me. You know, the random black person that you decided to insult with your hatred. Please know that I refuse to let your darkness, your hatefulness occupy any space in my mind or my spirit. I shall continue to be a beacon of light to everyone I encounter, regardless of what they look like, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what language they speak, or any of the rest. And I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because you've robbed yourself of the opportunity to meet wonderful people like me. And I'm a great person. But more importantly, I forgive you. Because if I chose to hate you like you hate me, I'm nothing but less than who I really am. And I tell you now that I stand here with my arms wide open, ready to forgive you if you choose to be forgiven. And I want you to know that from your darkness, I shine brighter. Thank you.
Okay, 1 minute of silence again, please. Okay, it's been an emotional day, huh? Our final speaker in the International Speakers Competition is Leticia Montana in Pursuit of a Dream. So please join with me in welcoming to the stage in Pursuit of a Dream, Leticia Montana.
The night I turned 40, it dawned on me. I was 2 years away from my Everest dream. My thoughts started racing. My heart skipped a beat. I couldn't sleep that night. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. You see, as a little girl growing up in Romania, when I was 7 years old and I first found out about Mount Everest, I said to myself, when I'm 42, I'm going to climb it. The dream was born. Growing up in Romania, together with my beloved parents, I enjoyed hiking the beautiful Carpathian Mountains. At the age of 12, I had my first mountain peak experience. And that remains to this day one of the most incredible experiences of my life. Standing there on top of that mountain plateau, touching the blue sky, seeing the fluffy white clouds fly by. It was a sublime moment that I will never forget. Many years later, my love of mountains continued as I experienced trekking through the beautiful, strikingly beautiful mountains of Peru. Among the mountain peaks, overlooking a glacier, the small inconveniences of high altitude, such as the permanent headache and diarrhea, were a worthwhile price to pay. Many years later, throughout my 20s and 30s, this dream stayed with me. It was always at the back of my mind. In my early 20s in Canada, I took up rock climbing, always thinking, this might come in handy one day for my Everest dream. Alas, when you're young and carefree, in your 20s and 30s, your 40s seem very far away. Until one day, it hits you. That night in my room, alone at night, I asked myself again, is this something I want to do, or is this just some childhood fantasy? Perhaps the easiest thing would have been to just say, let's just forget about this. It's a childhood fantasy. And yet, I had to be honest with myself. This dream had been with me for too long. I owed it to myself to at least try. That same night, my decision was made. And Tony Robbins says, it is in the moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And thus became a 2-year journey in pursuit of my dream. That same night, since I knew nothing about high altitude mountaineering, I started searching as to what would be involved with such a pursuit. I quickly found out that the price to pay is not a small one. Climbing Everest with a world-class company will run you anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000. I was intimidated, yet undeterred. I also knew from my mentor, Tony Robbins, that when you are trying to reach a goal, it is helpful to follow the footsteps of someone who has been there before. Luckily for me, I found a gentleman who is himself an Everest summiteer. He also became the eldest American to climb K2, the world's second highest peak. A few months later, I was in a position to hire him as my coach. Alan had sympathy for my dream. He understood it. He wasn't overly optimistic about my desired time frame. He said that realistically, it would be a 3 to 5 year time frame of hard work and preparation to reach such a dream. And yet I pleaded with him. I said, Alan, it's my childhood dream. I want to climb Everest by 42. Please help me. It's like, okay. He put me on a pretty intense climbing and training schedule. During the next year and a half, because that's all I had left in order to climb it, I ended up in the Pacific Northwest, climbing Mount Rainier, Mount Baker, then off to South America, climbing the highest mountains of Ecuador, breathtaking high mountains, to finally, in the fall of 2023, end up in Nepal, in the beautiful, rugged, and cold, snow-covered peaks of Nepal. Now, dear friends, while I would love to stand here before you today, telling you that I am an Everest summiteer, my beloved childhood dream hasn't as of yet come true. That little financial investment is something I'm still in the process of manifesting. With that said, I take solace in the words of Earl Nightingale, who said, never give up on a dream just because of the time it would take to accomplish it. Time will pass anyway. The pursuit of my dream has been one of the most exhilarating things in my life. Do you have dreams stored in your heart that are still waiting to be lived? Based on my own very gratifying experience, I would encourage you to go for your dreams. In the words of Mark Twain, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed in the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So, throw off those bowlines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Feel the trade winds in your sail. Explore, dream, discover. God bless you.
Okay, again, we'll have 1 minute silence, please.